Wendy Crochet, and this is my very first video podcast, and I hope you'll enjoy it. You might notice I have a little bit of a strange accent. That's because I'm Dutch, I'm from Belgium, so English is not my mother tongue, but nevertheless I hope you enjoy watching this video podcast. I'm doing this video podcast because currently I am organizing a knit-alike crochet-along on my blog. Part 1 is already on my blog, and part 2 of the crochet-along is going to be in Tunisian crochet stitches. So knit-alike is actually a crochet technique that mimics knitting stitches, so it's crochet that looks like knitting. Most of you might have heard of Tunisian crochet, or maybe have already done some Tunisian crochet, but I think there's a lot of people that haven't done Tunisian crochet already, so I'll show you in a few minutes how I'm making my swap in Tunisian crochet. Okay, see you in a few. Bye! Hello, I'm back, but before I'm going to show you some Tunisian stitches, I'm going to show you the different kind of hooks you can use. So first of all, you can use, of course, your normal crochet hook. This is when you're making smaller Tunisian crochet pieces. We also have this kind of needle. It's called a nooking hook. You recognize it because it has this hole at the end and you can thread some yarn through it. I personally don't like working with a nooking needle for Tunisian crochet because the loops have the tendency to get stuck on the end of your needle, so they don't go fluently from the yarn onto your hook. Well, basically it's perfect to use this one for Tunisian crochet as well. Then we have the standard Tunisian crochet hook, and you don't see it, but it's very long, you see. It's not focused, but it's a really long hook. It kind of looks like a knitting needle, except that it has this crochet hook at the end. I think it's very lovely to work with when I'm just at home, sitting in my couch, you know, having a lazy day. But when I'm traveling, I don't think these are very handy, and then I like to use something else. And I just received this one in the mail today, so woohoo, brand new crochet hook. It is called an interchangeable crochet hook. I'll show you a bit, you see. So it's made out of separate pieces. The first part is a normal crochet hook, but then at the end you see it has this little system, and you can look or fasten a cord to it to make your length longer, so you have a larger needle actually. Because this one is flexible, it's also a perfect crochet hook for nooking, and because you can unfasten the cord, you can use it for normal crochet as well. So I think this one, if you're like me and you like several different crochet techniques, this is really worth buying. I'm already very fond of it right now. Okay, so let's show you some Tunisian crochet. First we're going to start with Tunisian foundation chain. I already chained 5, and from now on there's 2 ways to go. You can work from front to back through the loops. I call this the standard method. So go through the loop, pull up a loop, go through, pull up a loop. You keep repeating until the end of the chain. But there's also a second method, and I like that much better because it gives you a much nicer finish. If you turn your chain, you notice these bumps here and here and here and here. That's a small bump, but it's there. You can work through those bumps as well, and I'll show you in a minute what it does. Okay, so it's basically the same. It's a little bit more difficult if you work through the bumps, but you only have to do it one time for the foundation of your work, so I think it's worth the effort. Okay, through the bump, next bump, go through, pull up a loop, and the last one, pull up a loop. Okay, so now if you turn your work to the bottom, you'll notice these beautiful V-shaped stitches. That's what happens when you work through the bump, but it's totally up to you to choose whichever method you think is more suitable. Okay, next, what we're going to do, in Tunisian crochet you always have 2 directions. The first one is the forward pass, so that's that direction, and you need that one to put all your loops onto the crochet hook. And then you have the backward pass, it's that way, and it's to return back to the beginning of your chain. So how do we do that? You yarn over once, go through 1 loop, and from now on you yarn over once and you go through 2 loops. You repeat this until the end of your work, so yarn over, through 2, yarn over, up until the end. Okay, so that's how you do a Tunisian foundation chain. And let's go to the first stitch of the crochet along, and that's the Tunisian knit stitch. The Tunisian knit stitch. So first we have the forward pass, and actually the forward pass is where all the magic happens. So you notice these vertical bars, those are the stitches we're going to work in, but the first stitch is already worked, and that's the loop that's already on your hook. So we go through the second one, and you'll see that you have a bar at the front and one at the back of your work. So it's like 2 legs, one on the front and one on the back. For the Tunisian knit stitch, we'll go straight through both legs from the front to the back, and we pull up a loop. Okay, so through both legs and we pull up a loop, and you keep repeating that until the end of your work. The last stitch, it's the same, but with a little difference. If you go from front to back, you also notice that there's kind of a side loop, and you have to make sure that that the side loop is also on the front of your needle. It also gives you a nicer finish at the sides of your work. So go through, pull up a loop. And then the returning pass is the same as we did before. So yarn over, go through 1 loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops, and from now on we always go through 2 loops. And that's how Tunisian knit stitch is done. I'll show you a little sample. So this is the piece I'm making for the crochet-along, and as you notice, this is the Tunisian knit stitch. So if you keep doing exactly the same stitch over and over again, you'll have this beautiful knit-alike fabric. The last stitch you need to know for this crochet-along part 2 is the Tunisian reverse stitch. That's this one. It gives you these nice ridges, and I'll show you how to do that. So again, we are going to work in those vertical bars. Oh, I'm sorry, I was out of focus. So we're going to work in those vertical bars, but this time we are going to keep our hook at the back of the work. So we keep the hook at the back of the work, and we only go through the back bar, so the back loop actually, and you pull up a loop. Okay, again, so keep it at the back of the work, go through the back loop only, pull up a loop. Okay, and again, pull up a loop, and the last stitch is the same again. So you go through the back loop, but you have to make sure that little side loop is always on the front side of your crochet hook. And you already noticed that it pushes this chain to the front side of your work. So the returning pass is the same again. Yarn over, go through 1, yarn over, go through 2, go through 2 until the end of your work. So that's how easy it is. And now I'm going to show you how to do those color changes in the work. Hello, I'm back again. That's fast, huh? Okay, so now I'm gonna show you how to use those 2 stitches in your work. So the first rows, I believe it's 11 rows, there's just the Tunisian knit stitch, so that's easy. But from the 11th row we are going to use the reverse stitch. Because you have to already use the reverse stitch in the 11th row, you have to make sure that when you're doing your 10th row in the backward pass, you already have to change your color to yellow. You can see it in my work as well. So the forward pass, that's the pink, was just in the pink, and the backward pass I used yellow. It's pushed through to the front. So you always have to be 1 step ahead. If it says in row 10 to go to the reverse stitch, you have to already change your color in row 9 in the backward pass, in the returning pass, I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to use the 2 different techniques and how to change color. For the forward pass, it's pretty simple. So just first we're going to go with the knit stitch. So it's just going through, pull up a loop, going through, pull up a loop. So you basically just follow the pattern. I have a graph that I put online as well. So from the moment you have to change color in the forward pass, you just change color. It's actually that simple. So I'm leaving my yarn to the back. I'm taking my yellow yarn, just, you know, let it hang, it doesn't matter, you don't need it for a while. And I'm going to do my forward pass on the reverse stitches. So the first is a little bit tricky because you need to pull this a little bit aside and then go through the loop, backward loop, and you keep repeating this. It's just the same until you are at the end of your color. Okay, hello, I'm back, and I just need to do one more stitch in the reverse stitch and then change color again. So it's just the same as I did previously. You do your reverse stitch, the last one. It doesn't okay, all right. And yeah, it's easy like that. Just drop your yarn, take your pink one or any color you're using, and this one is the next. So now we're returning to the Tunisian knit stitch. Also a great tip, if you're using different colors, also use different balls of yarn. I have, you see, 2 pink and 1 yellow, because else you would have to cut the yarn every time, and I don't like cutting yarn because that would mean that I have a lot of ends to weave in. If you like weaving in ends, be my guest, but I do not like it, so I tend to do anything to avoid it. So we're back to the pink, to the knitting Tunisian knit stitch. So it's just the same until the end. All right. I think it's 9 times. Okay, and now I'm going to show you something special as well. You can choose, or you make this piece separately, or you can already join it to the first piece we made. So this one is the part 1 of the crochet along. I like to attach it already. So what you do next is pull up a loop. You have these loopholes here, so you go through the next, this one, go through the next hole, pull up a loop, and you can join your work this way. This also means that the reverse pass will be a little bit more different. So you remember, normally it's chain 1, pull through 1 loop. I'm sorry, not chain 1, but yarn over, pull through 1 loop. Because we're attaching, the attachment loop, I don't know how to call it else, is not a stitch. So it's if you would do yarn over, pull through 1 loop, you would create a new stitch. You would basically increase, and we do not want that, so we're going to do a yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Oh, I made a mistake. I have to do it again. I'm sorry. So Tunisian knit stitch, you gotta love it. Okay, so we're back here. So yarn over and pull through 2 loops instead of 1. So we're doing that until the end. Now for the color change, it's a little bit different the first time than the second time. So the first time, whoop, 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 you work until you have 2 loops from pink or the color you're using on your hook. And now we're going to change color. To do that, we're gonna lay a loop on the needle, but we're not going to do it like this, but from the front to the back. Keep the thread, change to yellow, yarn over, oops, okay, yarn over, okay, and now we're going to do this through the 3 loops on the hook. So it's 1, 2, 3. I did something wrong here. I have to do it again because I made a mistake. So okay, again we have 2 loops. See, it happens to me as well. Mistakes is great. 2 loops. You yarn over from front to back, and then you take the yellow. Oh yeah, I know what I did wrong. So you have to make sure that the yellow crosses over the pink yarn over, because else it won't fix it, and that's why it was not right. Okay, so I yarned over, then I'm going to do a normal yarn over with the yellow and pull through the 3 pink loops on my work. You see. Okay, I pull this a little bit tighter. Voila! Okay, that's it. And for the next stitch, it's just a normal yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, see you back at the end of my yellow part. Okay, I'm at the end of my yellow part, and you notice already there's a difference. I only have 1 loop instead of 2 in my last color. Oh, there's a here. And that's because I want to have a neat finish here as well, or a neat color change. If I would leave 2 loops and do the same as I did previously, then there would be pink in the yellow here, and yeah, if you like it, you feel free to do that, but I want to have a straight edge here on both sides. So apart from that, the color change is exactly the same. So you are going to do yarn from the front to the back, yarn over, keeping those locked. Take your pink or the color you're using, make sure they cross on the back, so the yellow has to be underneath the pink, and then it's just a normal yarn over and pull through 1, 2, 3 loops. Okay, that's it, and then it's just yarn over, pull through 2 until the end of the row. I already showed you how to join your new color, so remember, we have to have the first ridge in the 11th row, so we already joined our yellow in the returning path of the 10th row. I showed you how to change color on this side and how to change color on this side, but you might notice in the graph that we're making a crown, and at a certain point you'll have to start changing colors for yeah, how do you call it, the spikes of the crown, or the tips of the crown, and in that case we will be alternating between Tunisian reverse stitch and the Tunisian knit stitch, and I'm going to show you how to do that because it's a little bit different than the changes we did on this side. So again, I'm going to work, so I just worked row 22, and I'm going to start with row 23. Now, as you might notice, row 22 only says to do a Tunisian knit stitch here, and I already have 3 color changes going on. That's because you remember when I said you always have to be 1 step ahead. So if I would have done these 2 stitches in yellow, I wouldn't have my pink knit stitches in row 23. So I'm gonna show you what I mean. So row 23, okay, we start off with our Tunisian knit stitches at the beginning of our work. Okay, and now remember, this is an easy color switch. Just drop and pick your new color. Now we're switching to the reverse stitch. All right, and I'm stopping here because we're doing row 23, but row 24 says that this one and this one also have to be a pink knit stitch. If I would make my make my stitch with yellow, I would have a yellow knit stitch in the next row, and we don't want that. We want a pink one. So I'm gonna drop my yarn already, and then pick up my pink and make a reverse knit stitch, but picking up a pink instead of a yellow one. And you see, this doesn't change anything for my reverse stitch. It still is yellow, so that's perfect. That's how we want it. Next 3 stitches are knit stitches. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now you can see already that it's starting to show. These 2, if I hadn't made those in pink in the previous row, I would have yellow knit stitches now. So it's going to be the same for the one we already made here. So another one in pink, but we're returning to the reversed stitch. So again, you see that the reverse stitch stays yellow, so that's perfect. Now I am dropping my yarn, picking up yellow again, and okay, so we keep repeating this until the end of our work. I'll show you how to do the reverse pass. Alright, so I already made my first part of the returning pass. I did these Tunisian stitches. I changed color here, we already know that. And I already did my first color change for the crown. So you see how neat this is? It's really beautiful, isn't it? So I'm going to show you how to make these color changes, because those are a little bit different than the ones we're making at the beginning and at the end of our returning pass. So here we go. Okay, I'm at a yellow returning pass, so it's easy now. Yarn over, go through 2, and I keep repeating it until I'm at the next color change. Okay, so now I stop to have a look. So I give you a little trick that will help you in deciding when to change color or when not to change color. The loop on your hook is already the stitch that is going to lie between this post and the next post. So we want this to be yellow, and it's yellow, it's a yellow loop, so that's perfect. If it had to be a pink one, then we had to take out one stitch, but it's the right color, so we're gonna make one last stitch, and then we do the same for the next. Okay, the stitch between this one and this one has to be yellow. That's perfect. It's a yellow loop on my needle. But then the stitch between this and this one, these two posts, should be pink. So this means that we will have to change color right now. Yarn over and picking up the pink, and oh, some things are happening behind my work. Nope, not good. Okay, so yarn over and go through 1, 2, 3 loops. Okay, and now you see this is a very beautiful color change. Next few stitches are just normal returning stitches, so go through 2 loops all the way. Again, we take a look at our work, because we want to make sure to make a beautiful color change. So the loop on your hook is already the stitch that's going to come between this one and this one. It's pink, so that's perfect, but the next one needs to be yellow, so it's time to change color again. And again the normal returning stitch, and this one you already know, so yarn over, back to the pink, until the end of your work. So that's it for the color changes. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned some new things, And if there's any questions left, feel free to contact me by mail, through Facebook, or through the comments on my blog, and I'll do my best to help you out. Okay, bye!